ज्योति स्टेनो टाइपिंग कॉलेज में आप सभी का स्वागत है बच्चों। कैसे हैं आप सभी? उम्मीद करता हूँ अच्छे होंगे। ये 80 WPM डिक्टेशन क्लास है और जो ये एसएससी और सीआरपीएफ के लिए इम्पोर्टेंट डिक्टेशन क्लास है। तो मैं नाम दे रहा हूँ दो डिपार्टमेंटों को, एसएससी और सीआरपीएफ। ये दोनों में जैसे इम्पोर्टेंट डिक्टेशन क्लास है। जो सीआरपीएफ वाले स्टूडेंट्स हैं वो भी इसको लिख सकते हैं और एसएससी वाले तो खैर इसको लिखेंगे ही, जिनका पेपर जो है कैंसिल हुआ है, दोबारा जो होने वाला है। इसमें टोटल 801 वर्ड हैं। डिक्टेशन स्टार्ट आफ्टर 5 सेकेंड। People know intuitively that we can better understand others' behavior if we know the thoughts contributing to the behavior. In this example, you might guess that your teacher harbors several concerns about the disruptive student and therefore you believe their whispering is related to this. The area of social psychology that focuses on how people think about others and about the social world is called social cognition. Researchers of social cognition study how people make sense of themselves and others to make judgments, form attitudes, and make predictions about the future. Much of the research in social cognition has demonstrated that humans are adept at distilling large amounts of information into smaller, more usable chunks, and that we possess many cognitive tools that allow us to efficiently navigate our environments. This research has also illuminated many social factors that can influence these judgments and predictions. Not only can our past experiences, expectations, motivations, and moods impact our reasoning, but many of our decisions and behaviors are driven by unconscious process and implicit attitudes we are unaware of having. The goal of this model is to highlight the mental tools we use to navigate and make sense of our complex social world and describe some of the emotional, motivational, and cognitive factors that affect our reasoning. Consider how much information you come across on any given day. Just looking around your bedroom, there are hundreds of objects, smells, and sounds. How do we simplify all this information to attend to what is important and make decisions quickly and efficiently? In part, we do it by forming schemas of the various people, objects, situations, and events we encounter. A schema is a mental model or representation of any of the various things we come across in our daily lives. A schema related to the world schematic is kind of like a mental blueprint for how we expect something to be or behave. It is an organized body of general information or beliefs we develop from direct encounters as well as from second hand sources. Rather than spending copious amounts of time learning about each new individual object, each new dog we see, we rely on our schemas to tell us that a newly encountered dog probably barks like to fetch and enjoys treats. In this way, our schemas greatly reduce the amount of cognitive work we need to do and allow us to go beyond the information given. Another important way we simplify our social world is by employing heuristics, which are mental shortcuts that reduce complex problem solving to more simple rule based decisions. For example, have you ever had a hard time trying to decide on a book to buy, then you see one ranked highly on a big book review website? Although selecting a book to purchase can be a complicated decision, you might rely on the rule of thumb that a recommendation from a credible source is likely a safe bet, so you buy it. A common instance of using heuristics is when people are faced with judging whether an object belongs to a particular category. For example, you would easily classify a pit bull into the category of dog. But what about a coyote or a fox? A plastic toy dog, in order to make this classification and many others, people may rely on the representativeness heuristic to arrive at a quick decision. Rather than engaging in an in depth consideration of the object's attributes, one can simply judge the likelihood of the object belonging to a category based on how similar it is to one's mental representation of that category. For example, a perceiver may quickly judge a female to be an athlete based on the fact that the female is tall, muscular, and wearing sports apparel which fits the perceiver's representation of an athlete's characteristics. In many situations, an object's similarity to a category is a good indicator of its membership in that category, and an individual using the representativeness heuristic will arrive at a correct judgment. However, when base rate information, the actual percentage of athletes in the area and therefore the probability that this person actually is an athlete conflicts with representativeness information, use of this heuristic is less appropriate. For example, if asked to judge whether a quite thin man who likes to read poetry is a classics professor at a prestigious university or a truck driver, the representativeness heuristic might lead on to guess he is a professor. However, considering the base rates, we know there are far fewer university classics professors than truck drivers. Therefore, although the man fits the mental image of a professor, the actual probability of him being one considering the number of professors out there is lower than that of being a truck driver. In addition to judging whether things belong to a particular categories, we also attempt to judge the likelihood that things will happen. ये करेक्ट 80 के आसपास रही है और जो है इसको आप जो है वेबसाइट पे इसको लगा दिया गया है। वेबसाइट में न्यू माई कोर्सेज में जाओगे तो सबसे नीचे मिलेगा इंग्लिश 80 WPM न्यू डिक्टेशन के नाम से फोल्डर, और वहाँ जाकर इसको टाइप करना है। पहले इसको अच्छे से पढ़िए, फिर इसको टाइप करिए। इस क्लास के अंदर इतने बच्चे, नमस्कार बच्चे।